you smile. You know I need a little of your loving every once in a while. I don't know why you keep me around. Get me high just to bring me down. It takes more than what you'll give just to keep a real man around. Now I need a woman that can really shake it down. Now I need a woman that can really shake it around. I need a woman.
Oh, good fish.
I'll give you everything that you want.
Yes.
Don't know why we play these games. Time passing by, baby, things stay the same. I need some of that hot love to keep myself sane.
Not a bad fish. You're eating the fly. Got him. Woohoo! Picked up another one on the fly. Not a bad fish. He's probably like 16. So for those of you wondering, this is the fly I'm throwing. It's kind of jangled up at the moment because it's been getting chomped on. But this is actually the first fly that I ever tied that I caught a fish on. And it is, man, it's mangled up. Nothing fancy, a white bucktail, some blue, I don't even remember what fiber this is, and some silver and gold flash. See if we can do that again. That was kind of fun. All right, so a little bit of a spot dissection here. What in my mind makes this such a good spot is clearly you have oyster shells. That the way that that little ditch funnels all of that water sets up a prime feeding habitat. Any bait that's coming from further back in the river has to funnel through right there. Now, if it does that into a little 2-foot pool, it's not going to be as productive. But this one is a real shallow, narrow funnel and then it comes into about a 4 or 5 foot hole that runs pretty much the length of this bend, and then right in here picks back up, and it's shallow all the way back out of the creek. So you've got a shallow entrance that keeps the dolphins and all of that stuff out of here. You've got a bait funnel. You've got enough water for the fish to feel comfortable in. And then you've got this mud flat here. And that mud flat is gonna warm up in the daytime. And then as that water fills back over it, it's gonna warm that water. Or if the water's coming off of it in a nice sunny part of the day, that water's gonna be warm. So, I mean, it's all about stacking things in your favor. And this spot stacks a lot of them in your favor, and that's where you find fish. Just like that. Oh man, I couldn't ask for it no better. It's a good one too. He's not a monster, but he's a good fish. Probably a 19. Oh, they're getting fat. Putting some weight back on. Oh, not fly rod in the water. Good fish though. Solid, healthy, thickening on up. Them bellies don't feel anorexic no more, they're full. I like it. Oh man, these little Ned heads, man, with these owner hooks, they set dead in the corner of the mouth, and they don't have any trouble going through that gristle. So nice fish. A little bit about how I pick an area apart. When I come in, I start fishing back there and pitching up into this deeper area so that I can, when I start working it, I work my way back, working further and further into that hole. And what that does is, first off, you don't spook any fish that may be holding earlier in the creek. And as you work down the creek, you're presenting that bait at different angles. So you may be hitting that same spot that you casted to in the first couple of casts, move down the creek and still cast to that same spot. And what that does is change the angle that you're presenting the bait to that fish. And you know, redfish, as long as you get it in front of them and you don't spook them on the cast or spook them, you know, some other way, if you put that bait in front of him and jiggle it, he's gonna eat it. A trout can be very particular about how that bait swims to him. You know, so as you work down the creek, you're changing the angle of presentation. You know, so you hit those same spots as you work in and then hit the further spots. And so you'll start casting and you know, you'll just fan cast across the creek. No bites. You know, maybe do it 2 rounds. Move a little deeper in the creek, fan cast around the creek, hit all of the little points and the little ditches, little drains coming out of the marsh, oyster mounds. You know, you want to make sure you hit those spots heavy, but also cast around in the creek too, out in the middle and, you know, down the side of the bank. Like for instance, there's no visible structure down this mud bank right here. but just under the water there is a hard drop. And so I can cast towards those oysters and swim it down that hard bank and pick up fish. In fact, that's pretty much what I've been doing. So, you know, that's how I work an area. You start, you know, at the mouth of the creek and slowly push back into that creek, fan casting across the creek, hitting your, you know, high probability spots, your points, your oyster mounds, your guts, your little drains out of the marsh, until you start getting bites. At that point, I stick the paddle in the mud and fish. If it slows down and something looks better down in deeper in the creek, you know, I may push a little deeper in and fish that for a little while. If I know that the fish are gonna move back through, I'll stay where I'm at, you know, change baits, try a different presentation, something, give those fish time to move back through, pick up another fish, you know. Old green shrimp getting it done. Of course, I didn't bring my measuring tape today, so today is gonna be the day I catch the big one. Alright guys, if you enjoy seeing these videos, remember to like and subscribe.